Okay, so this is my learning theories project. Um, and I chose to do it on Piaget and Vygotsky. So Piaget's theory of cognitive development is basically that Piaget believed that development happened in four different stages: the sensory motor stage, the pre operational stage, the concrete operational stage, and the formal operational stage. You can see here like the ages for them. He also thought that children's developmental thinking develops like stage by stage, and that has like not been proven. Um, Piaget also could have underestimated the ages that children are actually capable of learning things. Um, so he had like a lot of critics, and not a lot of people agreed with him. Um, and like I said before, it has been proven that many cognitive skills actually happen gradually and not in distinct stages. So the sensory motor stage, the emphasis is on the five senses: smell, taste, touch, sight, and hearing. Um, this is when children and babies develop like simple reflexes. They develop habits, and they start to gain object permanence, which is like if there's a toy in front of a baby and if someone puts a blanket over it, the baby will think that it's not there. But during this stage is when they develop the ability to understand that even though it's covered up and they can't see it, the toy is still there. They also have a strong sense of curiosity during this stage, and they begin to walk and move. And then children in the stage are very egocentric. They really only care about themselves because, like, they're so young. They don't really understand that other people around them have their own lives going on. Next is a pre-operational stage. This is when children begin to have fantasies. Um, they can also they can also speak, and they can understand words and gestures from people that are older than them and adults. This stage is characterized by inflexible and irreversible mental processes. So if they have a thought, they can't really think the opposite of the thought. They are still showing signs of egocentrism, and this stage is also centered around curiosity, just like the previous one. And children during the stage also begin to engage in symbolic play, like pretend play. So next is the concrete operational stage. Children in this stage usually begin to use logic. They can finally rearrange their thoughts, and they can reverse an action by doing the opposite. They like understand that now. They can also understand that thoughts and feelings are unique to themselves, and other people have their own thoughts and feelings. Children in this stage also show some aspects of adult logic, but they focus more on tangible things. They are less egocentric here, and by age 7, children can understand laws of conservation, transitivity, and seriation. So conservation is like if you have two glasses and one glass is bigger than the other, but there's the same amount of water, they'll understand that even though one glass is bigger, there's still the same amount of water in there. And then seriation is like lining things up in series, so like from darkest to lightest, from biggest to smallest, that kind of thing. And then the formal operational stage is last, and this is when abstract concepts can be understood and children develop an understanding of mortality. And they start to think hypothetically, like, what if? This is when the egocentrism returns, but they can also use they have a sophisticated use of symbols, so especially in math, like letters in math, they can understand that better. Children in this stage can be compassionate, and they develop deductive reasoning. They can prioritize. They can understand like what things are more important, like school, is more important than hanging out with your friends, and sometimes you just have to do your schoolwork. They can understand like their priorities. They can think ahead to the future, and they can also think about thinking. So Piaget also came up with schema theory and pragmatics. So schema theory is that knowledge is organized into different categories in your brain. So like there's an animal category, and then like a color category, and then putting new putting new information into an existing category, or you could create another one. Like if you know what animals are, but you go to the farm for the first time and see a bunch of farm animals, you can create a new category of farm animals. Piaget also believed that cognitive development precedes language development. So their brain is more developed than what they can actually convey by speaking. Like I said, children will learn a word and apply it to a category that they already have, but they can't say it. Vygotsky, who I'm also going to talk about, believed that language and thoughts remained separate for the first year of life. So Vygotsky's zone of proximal development. Vygotsky was a constructivist that came up with the concept of the zone of proximal development, which goes along with his idea of scaffolding. So the zone of proximal development is a range of tasks that a child can carry out with the help of someone that is more skilled. So like a teacher or a student that, like a classmate that is better at that skill. So for example, what you can do with help, what is too challenging, and what a child can do with someone that is more skilled. So this is a quote that I found in one of the articles I read. It's actually a direct quote from Vygotsky. The distance between the actual development level as determined by independent problem solving and the level of potential development as determined through problem solving under adult guidance or in collaboration with more capable peers. So that's just a harder way of explaining what I just said. So Vygotsky also came up with the idea of scaffolding, which is a gradual release of responsibility. So for example, a teacher like shows a child how to do it or gives them a little bit of help. Then the next day they help less, and then the next day they do it by themselves. So Vygotsky also introduced the idea of the more knowledgeable other. So like I already said, giving the student support if they need it from the teacher, another student, whatever. He introduced ideal stages for learning, which was a similar opinion to Piaget, and Vygotsky also heavily stressed pretend play as a learning tool. And there are my sources.